In this episode of the PBD Podcast, the guest is Roseanne Barr, an actress, comedian, writer, and producer. The podcast covers a wide range of topics, including Barr's personal journey, her experiences in the entertainment industry, and her thoughts on the Israel-Palestine conflict. Barr discusses her resilience in the face of adversity and how her faith in God has helped her overcome challenges throughout her life. She also talks about the struggles she faced as a woman and a working-class individual in Hollywood, where she often felt isolated and targeted. The conversation then shifts to the peak of Barr's career when her sitcom, Roseanne, became a massive success. She reflects on the fame and the pressure that came with it, as well as her desire to use her platform to make a positive impact in the world. Barr shares her passion for helping abused children and funding lawsuits for justice. The discussion then turns to the Israel-Palestine conflict, with Barr expressing her thoughts on the recent events involving Hamas and Israel. She questions the motives behind the conflict and suggests that there may be hidden agendas at play. Barr highlights the failures of Israel's defense systems and raises concerns about the influence of leftist and anti-Semitic groups in funding terrorism. Barr also touches on the role of Iran in supporting Hamas and Hezbollah, as well as the potential involvement of other countries such as Saudi Arabia, Russia, China, and the United States. She emphasizes the importance of not negotiating with terrorists and the need to protect innocent lives. Barr emphasizes the power of unity and the need to focus on the real culprits behind the conflicts rather than turning against each other. She believes that positive change is happening and that people are becoming more aware and resistant to the divisive tactics used by those in power. She continues by discussing her belief that God will not let the world blow up, expressing her hope that there can be peace and understanding between different religious groups. She mentions a recent debate she hosted between Muslims and Christians, highlighting the similarities in their beliefs and the importance of finding common ground. The conversation then shifts to the current situation in Iran, with Barr expressing her concern about the country's hostility towards America. She mentions a video she saw of Iranians chanting "Death upon America" after receiving billions of dollars in funding, and criticizes the decision to support a country that harbors such hatred towards the United States. Barr also shares her thoughts on the current state of American politics, particularly the lack of strong leadership. She compares the leadership styles of former President Trump and current President Biden, highlighting the perceived strength and decisiveness of Trump's approach. She criticizes Biden for his perceived lack of action and the negative impact it has had on the country, such as rising gas prices and economic struggles. The conversation then turns to the cancellation of Barr's television show, which was the #1 show at the time. Barr expresses her frustration with the decision, believing that she was targeted because of her conservative views. She also mentions the negative impact the cancellation had on her audience, with many of them boycotting Disney and feeling betrayed by the network. Barr discusses her own political aspirations, mentioning her run for president in 2012 as a representative of the Black Caucus of the Green Party. She expresses her support for populism and the need for a party that truly cares about the people. She also emphasizes the importance of open dialogue and respectful conversations with people who have different views. The conversation then touches on the recent announcement of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. running as an independent candidate. Barr expresses her support for his candidacy and believes that his run will shake up the establishment. She criticizes his family members who denounced his candidacy, accusing them of prioritizing party loyalty over family. The podcast continues with a discussion about the possibility of an upcoming election. Barr expresses her skepticism, suggesting that the events of the 2020 election and the lack of confidence in the voting system may lead to a suspension of the election. She believes that many people have lost faith in the voting process and may choose not to vote as a result. Barr continues by talking about government continuity plans, specifically the concept of continuity of government, COG. She mentions that COG was developed by the British government during World War II to ensure essential operations could continue in the event of a catastrophic event such as a nuclear war. She also notes that COG is no longer limited to nuclear emergencies and that it was activated during the 9/11 attacks. The conversation then shifts to the current political climate and the possibility of a major crisis occurring. Barr speculates about a hypothetical scenario where a conflict between Ukraine and Russia escalates into an all-out war, potentially leading to the use of nuclear weapons. She suggests that in such a crisis, the government would not allow an election to take place and that Democrats and Republicans have mastered the art of not letting any crisis go to waste. Barr also expresses concerns about the presence of individuals in the country who may be waiting for a crisis to occur in order to carry out acts of violence. She suggests that such a crisis could lead to a civil war in American cities, further complicating the political landscape. The conversation then turns to Barr's experiences in Hollywood. She talks about the dark side of the industry, mentioning stories of individuals being exploited and abused. She acknowledges that she was fortunate to not have experienced such situations herself, but she knew people who did. Barr also discusses the challenges she faced in breaking into the industry and how she had to fight to have her own show. The discussion then moves on to the topic of comedy today. Barr shares her thoughts on late-night comedy shows such as SNL, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, and Stephen Colbert. She praises Greg Gutfeld as a trailblazer in late-night comedy and appreciates his unique format. However, she criticizes the current state of late-night comedy, describing it as the death of comedy. She believes that these shows are controlled by the CIA and follow a specific narrative. Towards the end of the podcast, the conversation touches on the possibility of a Trump-Biden rematch in the 2024 election. Barr suggests that Trump is still the commander-in-chief and that Biden is the president of a defunct corporation in Washington, D.C. She also mentions rumors that Michelle Obama may enter the race as a candidate. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe.